Hi, everybody. Ivor Chester here, your balance coach. It's really good to be with you again. We're still, excuse me, still trying to balance our time issues that we're having. Today, pardon me. Today, I'm trying to meet here at the Dayspring offices. I wasn't able to make it home in time for this 1:30 Facebook Live. So that's why it's a little different behind me. I'm in the Dayspring offices, as I said, in Irving, Texas, which is with Dr. Larry Gillum, who is the man who got me my life coaching certificate, along with so many other great people out of these offices. Today we're going to be talking about having a Jerusalem moment. I make the effort to read the Bible every morning. Now, it doesn't happen every morning, but it is something that I try to make the effort to do, and I know I use the word try. So, in so doing that, right now I'm in the book of Ezekiel. I was also, the past 6 weeks or so, I've been in, Lamentations and Jeremiah, and it's all been about God's a judgment upon his people in Israel. And it's been really tough to read because it is very little more than God warning the people. This is going to happen if you don't change. These events are going to come upon you. And I'm going to bring people from the north upon you, and they are going to carry you off into a strange land. And that is a consequence as to why a consequence of what has happened because of your behavior. So it is a consequence to a behavior. The antecedent to the consequence is Israel is worshiping false idols, and they ignore God and are just totally disrespectful to that. My point is, how many Jerusalem moments do you need? Now, God doesn't automatically knee-jerk off into Jerusalem moments where he literally wipes the landscape clean and destroys Jerusalem. And he says donkeys will live within the cities, the houses will be empty, weeds will be growing up in the farms, and strangers will occupy the land, and all these catastrophic things, that there will be cannibalism upon yourselves, and people will die by famine, by sword, or being taken off into exile. It's really tough reading. So what? How many of those do you need? Understand this. I've had a few. They were all my own consequences. They were brought upon by myself because I was too stiff-necked to be influenced by just God tapping. Now, if you've ever seen shepherds, and most city dwellers have never seen shepherds, but when the shepherds do try and lead their flocks, they have a rod which they just tap the sheep and don't fall off the cliff, or stay on the trail, stay away from the rocks, and stay away from these things. Just give them a little tap, and the sheep obey. You get your choice, folks. You get your choice. You either get just a nice gentle tap from God, or you get a full 100% Jerusalem moment brought to you by the Lord God Almighty. Now, having said this, please know that this translates beyond the theological concept. If you don't have a relationship with God, you should. But if you don't, understand, let's change this into a secular worldview. If you work for a corporation and your boss has to kind of knock on your cubicle and go, hey, you need to work on getting here on time. Okay. And that's all they'll say, and they'll walk off. And then if you're not obedient to that, if you don't make the change, they're going to pull you into their corner office, and they're going to go, okay, I've had to warn you 3 times. Now I got to write you up. And then after that, it escalates, and you probably, if you're a bit arrogant, you're not going to take that discipline well, and you'll say you have a crappy boss, and you'll put it on them, rather than you actually changing. Trust me, I know how this works. Nevertheless, you're going to have to be the one to change if you want to function in that environment. As children, we made the choice to come up against our parents or to be compliant to them. I made bad choices against my parents, and it cost me quite a bit. What are you doing? What am I getting at on this ultimately? Look, you either are compliant enough to get along with people to where you are having relationships with people and are disciplined by people who genuinely love you, or you will be harshly disciplined by people who don't love you at all, be it in prison, be it by strangers that you have to fall in with just to survive, or people who you lie to yourself about that care about you and they don't really. You're just enabling. So you have to make certain choices to take better care of yourself. Make the choice to love yourself enough to be around people who love you instead of being around people who don't love you, who will just discipline you or abuse you. Because frankly, people who love you really aren't disciplining you. They just getting you to behave. It's behavioral modification. I used to live in Huntsville, Texas. They had at the time at least 13 different jails, prisons there. I knew a lot of prison guards. They didn't love their inmates. What they did, though, was behavior modification. You will do this, or this will happen. God disciplines those he loves, and he loves us all. Love yourself enough to discipline yourselves, to start getting the things you really want, to say no to overeating, to say no to being around certain things, to say no to certain behaviors, to say no to the negative talk, to say no to sleeping in too late, to say no to the alcohol, to the drugs, and start saying yes, because those things, saying no to those things, gives you space in your life to start getting the yeses that you want, so you can get up and start writing, so you can start walking around the block, so you can start meeting better people. All those things are very important for you to get, but you're the only one that can do it. If you start relying on other people to discipline you, they're not going to start doing it out of love. They just do it out of obedience or just to get you to shut up. Love yourself enough. All right, that's it for today. I want you to start loving yourself enough to start setting up those boundaries. So it's a constant battle, folks. Love yourself enough. And this world wants to take away boundaries. They want to be all in you to get more control in you, or to sit here and say, oh, it's going to be okay. It's not going to be okay. There's no hope there. There's nothing but tribulation. I want you to love yourself enough. All right? I, again, will be continuing with our Monday meetings that we have at 7 o'clock here at the Dayspring offices. Every Monday, if you come and join us for about an hour and a half, starting at 7 o'clock, you'll get the class, you'll get a book, and you get all course materials, and we'll also throw in a one-on-one time meeting with me where we'll help sharpen your focus. All right, until then, I am done. You can reach me again here in the comments section. I'm on Twitter.